Introduction. You're about to hear a method of mental transformation that will lift you from limitation to power, from poverty to purpose, from drift to direction. It is not a sermon. It is not speculation. It is a method, a practical method, to cleanse the mind of beliefs that have kept you bound and replace them with ideas that will make you rich in spirit and reward. This work is not light reading. It is not casual motivation. It is the breaking of mental chains and the forging of new thought. It is a system for mental reformation, designed to dismantle every lie, every inherited limitation, every unconscious belief that governs your decisions without permission. This is not merely instruction. It is liberation. All success begins within. The man who masters his thoughts masters his results. For every empire, invention, and triumph was first a thought, obsessed upon, believed in, spoken aloud, and acted upon without apology. Your mind is not a mirror. It is a mold, and you are shaping yourself with every thought you allow to repeat. This teaching is built upon the very foundation of all achievement. It will ask of you 5 things: a definite chief aim, unshakable faith, daily autosuggestion, emotional repetition, and the courage to act before the world approves. If you possess these, or are willing to build them, you will become unstoppable. But if you listen to this as one listens to a sermon, nodding in agreement yet unchanged in behavior, you will walk away no different. Nothing in this process will work if you do not work it. Belief must be planted. Repetition must be practiced. Speech must be purified, and purpose must be declared aloud daily. You are going to replace your limiting beliefs, not in theory, but in practice. You will speak differently, walk differently, think differently. You will learn how to eliminate doubt before it forms. You will feed your subconscious only that which you wish to become, and in time you will become it. Let me make it plain. Belief controls results. If you believe you are unworthy, success will retreat. If you believe you are incapable, opportunity will pass by. If you believe life happens to you, you will remain the servant of your surroundings. But if you believe with definiteness and repeat that belief aloud, life will become your obedient tool. Do not confuse this with mere optimism. This is not hope. This is mental discipline. A man becomes what he repeats with emotion. Thought is the seed. Belief is the fertilizer. Repetition is the sunlight. Emotion is the water. And action is the harvest. If any element is missing, the result dies before it is born. Repetition rewires identity. Most men repeat their failure unconsciously. They speak it in their excuses. They carry it in their posture. They feed it with every complaint. And so they become it. But now you will learn to repeat your success before it arrives. You will create the man you desire to be through mental ritual and daily command. You must also come to understand the war you are fighting. You are not merely battling laziness or circumstance. You are battling drift, the slow decay of mind into conformity. Drift is what happens when you do not consciously choose your thoughts. It is the passive acceptance of what the world says you are. To reprogram yourself, you must do the opposite. You must build structure in your thinking, declare your identity aloud, act with belief even when no proof exists. You must burn old beliefs at the root and replace them with truth you have chosen. And this can only happen through repetition, belief, and desire. Unconscious belief is expensive. It will cost you years. It will cost you income. It will cost you confidence, health, relationships, opportunity. Most men live as slaves to beliefs they never questioned. They call it fate. They call it personality. But it is merely a choice repeated so often it became law. If you do not take hold of your mind, the world will, and it already has. From your earliest days, you were handed beliefs about success, money, confidence, discipline. But were these truths, or were they limitations disguised as wisdom? Until you ask this question, you are living a script written by others. But if you do ask and act, you will step into a power reserved for few. You will become the architect of your destiny, not by luck, nor birth, nor talent, but by law, the law of thought, the law of repetition, the law of faith. These govern all success, and today you begin your training in their use. This process will not be comfortable. You will face the voice of the old self. It will scream. It will mock your new thoughts. It will beg you to return to old habits. But you must not obey. You must bury the old self in repetition, and from that burial a new man will rise. You will be asked to speak aloud your aim daily. You will be asked to write affirmations that support your purpose. You will be asked to examine your beliefs and replace them with truth. You will be asked to walk into rooms with posture before results appear. You will become the man before the world agrees. Do not rush. Do not skip. Do not dilute these steps. Listen again. Repeat them aloud. Build them into habit. Study each chapter like a manual. For that is what this is, not poetry, not prose, but a mental manual for achievement. If you obey its structure, it will deliver its promise. And that promise is this: if you brainwash yourself with purpose, you will become greater than any program written by others. You will speak with power, walk with conviction, move with direction. You will eliminate fear, master discipline, and create the results that once seemed distant, because belief repeated becomes fact. Chapter 1. You are already mentally conditioned, but not by you. Before any man may transform his life, he must first understand the cause of its present condition. And the truth is this: you have been mentally conditioned, but not by your own decision. Your thoughts, beliefs, habits, and doubts have been formed by the world, not by your own conscious command. From the moment you were old enough to walk and speak, you were absorbing the thoughts of others. Your mind, like fertile soil, accepted every seed planted into it. And those seeds, planted by parents, teachers, newspapers, failures, fears, and careless opinions, have grown into the crop you now call your identity. Let no man be deceived. Beliefs are not born. They are taught, repeated, and accepted. And if you have not chosen your beliefs deliberately, you are now a servant of beliefs chosen for you. These inherited thoughts direct your decisions, limit your speech, and shape your expectations. And until they are examined, they govern your life like an invisible tyrant. This is not your fault, but it is now your responsibility. For no man can change what he refuses to confront. You must begin by admitting that your life is a reflection of your deepest and most consistent beliefs. Not the beliefs you speak aloud to impress others, but the quiet, constant ones that guide your action. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. This is no poetic phrase, it is a law. But the law works both ways. If your mind has been conditioned to conceive of defeat and to believe in limitation, then achievement will remain outside your grasp, no matter how hard you try. You must now begin the work of reconditioning your own mind. You must examine every belief you have about money, about success, about your own power. You must ask, who taught me this? What experience formed this thought? And does this belief serve the man I am becoming, or keep me bound to the man I was told to be? Most men never do this. They drift through life, repeating patterns that were planted in childhood. They fail and call it fate. They stumble and call it bad luck. But it is neither. It is the silent, habitual obedience to beliefs they did not choose. And until you choose your beliefs, you cannot choose your future. Repeat this aloud now and every morning. I choose my beliefs from this day forward. No longer shall I live under the mental patterns of others. I believe only what strengthens my purpose and advances my aim. Do not underestimate this declaration. When spoken with emotion and repeated daily, it becomes a wedge that breaks the chains of old thought. The subconscious mind, when impressed through repetition, begins to accept the new thought as law. and that law begins to form your reality. Understand this: you have already been conditioned. The only question is, by whom? And if the answer is anyone but yourself, you must take the wheel at once. A ship without a captain drifts, but a ship with a captain, charting course by definite aim, sails straight, even through storm. Let us speak plainly. If you were taught that money is evil, that success is rare, that confidence is arrogance, that greatness is reserved for the few, you are living in a prison of suggestion, and you will never escape it until you replace those suggestions with truth, chosen and repeated by your own will. You must become the master of your own mental conditioning. Do not leave it to chance. Speak aloud only that which you intend to see. Surround yourself only with voices that echo your desire. Think only thoughts that build, not thoughts that bind. And do not fear the old patterns. They are only strong because you have fed them. Stop feeding them. Stop rehearsing the story of your limitations. Stop agreeing with the smallness of your past. Begin now to plant new thought, repeated with faith, spoken with fire, and acted upon with decision. Each time you do this, the old self grows weaker. Each time you speak belief where you once spoke doubt, you break the chains of inherited thought. And each time you choose action based on your chosen belief, not the inherited one, you take one more step toward mastery. But be warned, this is not a single act. It is a daily discipline. You must repeat the new beliefs with emotion and voice until they are no longer new, until they are yours, until they speak from your mouth without effort. That is when they have replaced the old. That is when you are free. The men who rise, Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Lincoln, were all trained in mind before they were crowned in public. They were not born into power. They created their power through controlled thought. They rejected the beliefs of their surroundings and replaced them with belief in purpose. If you will do the same, you too shall rise. But you must act. You must speak. You must repeat. You must resist the return of old thought. And you must write, declare, and live the beliefs you have chosen until the world reshapes itself around your identity. Let your first act be this: examine every belief you hold. Ask yourself, does this belief belong to me? Or was it handed to me by fear, by failure, by small minds who meant well but knew not the laws of success? Write down those beliefs, and beside each one, write the truth you choose to believe instead. This is your command. I am no longer the product of unconscious thought. I am the designer of my destiny. I think only what I have chosen. I believe only what I have repeated with purpose. I move only in the direction of my definite chief aim. Chapter 2. Thought is the original cause. Every result, whether of wealth or ruin, begins not with labor, not with tools, not with favorable winds or friendly faces. It begins with thought. The world you see around you is the echo of 1,000 thoughts you have believed, repeated, and acted upon. Thought is the original cause. Nothing exists without it. No man has ever risen above his thoughts, and no man has ever remained low who chose daily and with faith to think high thoughts. You cannot build a palace with the blueprints of a hut. You cannot speak as a pauper and act as a king. Your world mirrors the condition of your thinking. If your mind is vague, your results will be unstable. If your mind is small, your actions will shrink. If your mind is ruled by others, your life will be their creation, not yours. But if your thoughts are definite, high, and self-directed, then life must obey. The mind commands and the world responds. Think back to Henry Ford. He was told his ideas were impractical, that a gasoline engine was foolish, that the common man would never drive. But Ford had conceived it, and he believed it. And that belief turned into a mission, which turned into motion, which turned into history. The car was first built in his mind. Let me say it plainly. Every circumstance you now face was first conceived in your thought life. You cannot harvest corn where you planted thorns. If you are surrounded by failure, poverty, confusion, it is not chance. It is the crop of yesterday's thinking. And if you desire a new result, you must sow a new thought. Understand that thought is not passive, it is creative. Every time you imagine yourself succeeding, every time you see your chief aim in vivid picture, you are creating. You are impressing the formless substance of life with a direction. And life, by law, begins to move toward that picture. But the image must be clear, and it must be held. 1 hour of hopeful thinking cannot compete with 23 hours of drifting. The man who rises is he who holds his definite chief aim before his mind daily, speaks it, sees it, feels it, believes it, until all else fades. This is not mysticism. It is the science of directed thought. It is the principle upon which all riches, power, and peace are built. The greatest fortunes began with a thought. The most powerful speeches, inventions, discoveries, all were once invisible ideas, held with clarity and faith by a man who refused to let them die. Thought, backed by belief, becomes a law, and that law governs your conduct, your tone, your posture, your decisions. That law determines which doors open and which remain locked. And that law is written not by fate, but by the pen of your own thought. Speak this aloud now, and believe it as you do. I am the master of my thought. I choose only those thoughts which serve my definite chief aim. My thoughts are the seed of all results, and I plant only what I intend to harvest. Do not allow stray thoughts to live in your mind. Each one is a seed, each one takes root, each one, when repeated, becomes a belief, and each belief guides your actions without question. Be deliberate, be ruthless, be wise in the garden of your mind. You are either planting progress or postponement. This is why I teach the principle of autosuggestion, for it is not enough to think once. You must think often. You must think with fire. You must think aloud. And you must repeat until the new thought becomes instinct. That is when it becomes real. That is when it begins to work for you without your conscious effort. Your mind, when properly trained, becomes a silent machine of creation. But until you direct it, it wanders, it reacts, it fears, it imitates. And so the man who fails to guide his thought is a slave to whatever wind blows through his environment. He becomes the victim of circumstance, not the author of it. Let us go deeper. There are no neutral thoughts. Every thought is either moving you toward your goal or away from it. The thought, I can't, builds a wall. The thought, I will, builds a stair. The thought, one day, builds delay. The thought, today, builds power. Every thought is an act of construction or destruction. This is why I teach definite chief aim as the cornerstone. A man who thinks without aim is like a builder without a blueprint. He may work, but his labor produces confusion. But the man who thinks according to his aim, daily, repeatedly, with emotion, is building his castle brick by brick in the invisible first. Again, consider Edison. Thousands of failed attempts, each one called foolish, each one a chance to quit. But he had seen the electric light in his mind. He had touched it in thought. And so he persisted. And today the world shines because one man's thought refused to die in darkness. Your thoughts today are building your tomorrow. They are writing your tone. They are forming your walk. They are selecting your companions. They are drawing your income. If you desire a greater life, think greater thoughts and hold them with all the intensity you can summon. Now repeat this declaration with full conviction. My results are the echo of my thought. I command new results by holding new thoughts. I direct my mind toward my purpose, and it obeys. Let this become your daily habit. Each morning, read your chief aim aloud. Spend 5 minutes in quiet, imagining it in full color. Throughout the day, reject all thoughts not aligned with it. Speak only words that build the vision you have chosen. Do this, and you will begin to see change. It will not always be immediate, but it will be certain. For thought is cause, and reality is effect. If the cause is changed, the effect must follow. It is law. Now you understand the root. You are not merely reacting to life. You are creating it every moment, every thought, every sentence. The question is not, can I change, but will I change what I think long enough for it to become real? Chapter 3, The Law of Repetition. How the Mind is Rewired. If thought is the seed of all achievement, then repetition is the rain that brings it to harvest. Without repetition, the thought remains weak, an intention without roots. But when repeated, when spoken, when planted again and again with emotion and purpose, it becomes law within the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind does not argue, it does not judge, it accepts whatever is repeated with conviction. If you tell it you are unworthy, it obeys. If you say, I can never succeed, it agrees. But if you say, with daily discipline, I am a builder of riches, and repeat it with fire, then it begins to reorganize your entire life to match that command. Understand this clearly. Repetition is not mere saying, it is spiritual engraving. Each word spoken with belief becomes a chisel that shapes the self, and the self, once shaped, becomes the creator of action. You will never act consistently in a way that contradicts the identity you have repeated into being. This is why so many fail. They attempt to act like a winner while still speaking like a loser. They change their schedule, but not their story. They try new habits, but keep the old affirmations. And so the outer change dies, because the inner identity was never rewritten. Only repetition rewires. I have taught men from the slums to the Senate this truth. You must repeat your definite chief aim aloud, twice daily, morning and night. Say it as if your life depends on it, because it does. Say it not with dry tongue, but with emotion, with intensity, with ownership. For the subconscious responds not to logic, but to feeling. This is called autosuggestion, and it is the cornerstone of reprogramming the self. When you repeat an idea again and again with energy and rhythm, it sinks below the conscious mind and becomes a part of the inner man. And once it is accepted as true within, the outer man will move in harmony with it. Do not say, I hope. Do not say, I wish. Say, I intend. Say, I will. Say, I am. These are the phrases that carry power. Speak as if the future is present. Speak as if the prize is already yours. Speak with so much conviction that the world begins to shift in your direction. For the mind leads and matter follows. Now hear this. The man who does not repeat his aim aloud will forget it, not because he is lazy, but because the world is noisy. Life is filled with distractions, fears, opinions. And these voices will drown out your inner voice unless it is strengthened daily by repetition. Repeat this aloud as your daily declaration. I speak my chief aim morning and night. I engrave it into my subconscious mind. My words become my belief. My belief becomes my identity. And my identity commands my future. You may say, but I do not yet believe what I am repeating. That is expected. Belief comes after repetition. The mind is like soil. It does not demand that the seed be proven, only that it be planted and watered, and in time belief will grow from repetition as surely as corn grows from earth. And do not wait to believe. Repeat until you believe. And once belief takes root, your tone will change. Your posture will change. Your results will follow. This is the law, and no man can violate it without cost. This is also why I instruct men to write their affirmations. Writing, like speaking, is repetition in physical form. It engages the body in agreement with the mind. And when the body, voice, and thought are united around a purpose, the subconscious receives the message with power. Let your repetition be structured. Let it be consistent. Let it be emotional. If possible, stand tall as you speak. Breathe deeply. Speak slowly with power. Picture your aim as you declare it. Let every word be soaked in the image of your desire. For repetition with vision becomes destiny. And beware, the subconscious also accepts negative repetition. If you speak daily of failure, of how hard it is, of how unlucky you are watering weeds. And those weeds will grow stronger than your seeds of purpose. You must guard your speech like treasure. Repeat only that which you are willing to become. Now take a moment to write your definite chief aim on paper, if you have not done so. Place it where your eyes must see it. Say it aloud upon rising. Say it aloud before sleep. Make it the command that echoes through your chamber. You must become obsessed with it, for it to become obsessed with you. Let us study the example of Charles M. Schwab, who rose from laborer to millionaire not because of birth or fortune, but because he held in his mind a clear aim and spoke of it often. He repeated his intention until his tone changed and others followed. Repetition gave him power, and power gave him influence. You must do the same. Do not wish for charisma. Do not wish for opportunity. Repeat the identity you intend to become, and charisma will form. Opportunity will arise. Doors will open because your voice has been trained to knock. There is no limit to the man who masters repetition. He can become wise. He can become wealthy. He can become unshakable. But the man who repeats only what the world gives him becomes small, for the world will always whisper fear, and if you repeat it, you will become it. Make this your new habit. Create 3 affirmations that serve your chief aim. Speak them aloud 3 times a day, upon waking, midday, before rest. Speak with emotion, not volume. Do this for 30 days without fail. At the end of this practice, you will begin to feel yourself changing. The old doubts will retreat. The tone of your voice will strengthen. You will act more boldly, for you have repeated into being a new identity. And that identity will now guide your conduct. Repeat this final command aloud. I repeat only what I intend to live. I train my mind through speech. I impress my purpose upon my subconscious daily. And the man I speak of, I become. This is the law of repetition. It cannot be broken, only obeyed or ignored. And the reward of obedience is transformation. The punishment for neglect is stagnation. Chapter 4. Identify the old programs. Before a man may fill a vessel with clean water, he must first pour out the stagnant poison. Before you may impress new beliefs upon the mind, you must expose and eliminate the old beliefs that have ruled you in silence. You must uncover the mental programs you did not write, but have obeyed your entire life. These old beliefs were not born from truth. They were formed by repetition, just as you shall now use repetition to form new ones. You were told what was possible. You were shown what was common. You were warned against dreams and punished for defiance. And you accepted it, not because it was right, but because it was repeated. These programs live not in the conscious moment, but deep in the mind, in the place where identity is formed. They are the hidden authors of hesitation, the silent source of fear. They are the whispered lies that say, that's too much for you. Stay humble. You're not that kind of person. You've failed before, you'll fail again. Now hear me. These beliefs are not facts. They are impressions, emotional scars painted with the brush of fear and repetition. And if you do not examine them, they will continue to steer your decisions, your tone, your posture, your entire life, while you believe it is all you're doing. It is time to drag them into the light, to make the unconscious conscious, to identify the exact thoughts that must be replaced if you are to rise. This is not pleasant work, but it is necessary, for you cannot build on rotten foundation. You must first demolish what was built by others. Begin with this question: what do I truly believe about success? Write it down. Write what comes up immediately. Do not filter it. Do not correct it. Let the mind reveal its conditioning. Then ask, where did this belief come from? Who spoke it? What experience imprinted it? Then move to money. What do I believe about money? Is it evil? Is it scarce? Is it only for the lucky or dishonest? And again, where did this come from? A parent's struggle? A teacher's warning, a past humiliation? Let the old program reveal itself. Let no lie hide. Now ask, what do I believe about myself? Not what you say aloud to strangers, but what you say in silence. Am I worthy? Am I capable? Am I destined? Or do you hear another voice, I'm not good enough? They won't accept me? I've always failed? These are not casual thoughts. They are anchors around your spirit. You must remove them. And the first step in removal is naming them. When a lie is spoken aloud and examined, it begins to lose power. When a belief is written and questioned, it begins to unravel. Right now, 5 limiting beliefs I currently hold about success, wealth, or my own power. Do not stop at the surface. Write the exact phrases that run through your mind in moments of hesitation. The ones that stop you from speaking, from acting, from claiming what is yours. Now, beside each one, write the truth that will replace it. Not in vague terms. Be specific. If you wrote, I always mess up under pressure, replace it with, I perform with clarity and power in every circumstance. If you wrote, success is for others, replace it with, I am a creator of success, built by thought, belief, and action. This is the beginning of reconditioning, the removal of falsehood, the excavation of the inner man. And it is the only way to become free. For a man cannot walk in power while wearing the chains of invisible beliefs he never questioned. Now repeat this aloud. I expose every belief I did not choose. I write them. I replace them. I no longer think according to the past. I build my beliefs by decision, not by inheritance. You may be tempted to excuse these beliefs, to say, that's just the way I was raised, or that's just how I think. But no, that is not truth. That is laziness masquerading as humility. You were not born to serve old patterns. You were born to build a new pattern and rise. Understand this clearly. Every belief you do not examine becomes a master you serve unknowingly, and these masters are cruel. They rob you of confidence. They whisper doubt when action is needed. They soften your voice and cripple your decisiveness. That is why you must refute them with writing, with repetition, and with declaration. Not once, not twice, daily. Until the old voice fades and the new one takes its place. Until the falsehood feels foreign and the truth feels familiar. Think of Lincoln, who was mocked for his appearance, doubted for his education, defeated in election after election. But he refused to accept the programs handed to him. He wrote new thoughts in his mind and lived them long before the world believed. And in time, they had no choice but to follow him. You must now do the same. Write your truth until you believe it. Speak your new beliefs until your tongue forgets the old ones. Act in alignment with your chosen identity, even when you feel like an imposter. That feeling will pass. But the new identity will remain. Repeat this command each morning. I no longer obey the voice of the past. I choose my thoughts. I speak my truth. I build the man I have decided to become. This is not motivational language. It is spiritual law. If you repeat it, you will believe it. If you believe it, you will act on it. And if you act on it long enough, the world will mirror it. Chapter 5. Every belief must be chosen. There are no idle beliefs. Every thought, once accepted, becomes a builder or a breaker of destiny. A man's beliefs either carry him toward the summit of purpose or fasten him to the valley of indecision. There is no neutral ground. If a belief does not strengthen, it weakens. If it does not build, it destroys. You must come now to a sobering conclusion. You cannot afford to think accidentally. You cannot afford to believe what the world hands you or what your emotions whisper in weakness. From this moment forward, you must choose every belief deliberately, as a mason selects only unbroken bricks for a great structure. Just as a general selects only the best men to stand at the front lines, you must allow only worthy beliefs to take residence in your mind. Do not welcome weak thoughts and expect strength. Do not rehearse powerlessness and expect to command. Your inner world will never rise above the beliefs you permit. Now consider this question. Where do my beliefs come from? Were they born of my definite chief aim? Or were they born of my fears, my failures, and the half-formed conclusions of those who never lived by purpose? If the answer is not purpose, then that belief is a parasite, and it must be expelled. Let me be direct. No man can hold beliefs by accident and live by design. You cannot become intentional in action while remaining passive in thought. You cannot speak with power while harboring hidden doubts. Every belief tolerated will show itself in posture, tone, decision, and destiny. Say this now with full conviction. I only accept thoughts that serve my definite chief aim. No thought may dwell in my mind without my permission. My beliefs are my servants, not my masters. You must enforce this declaration. You must become a guardian at the gates of your mind. Let no belief pass unless it can answer this question. Does this thought strengthen my faith, sharpen my purpose, and bring me closer to the man I have chosen to become? If it does not, it is a thief. Cast it out. Understand that most men suffer not because they lack resources, but because they have not chosen their beliefs. They accept fear as fact. They accept hesitation as humility. They accept failure as fate. And thus their lives remain at the mercy of beliefs they never examined. But you are not most men. You are one who thinks on purpose. You are one who understands that belief is the root and behavior is the fruit. You are one who dares to uproot what has been and to plant only what must be. Let us take an example. Carnegie, as a young immigrant with no wealth, no favor, no formal education, held one belief. I will become the master of industry, for I am willing to pay the price. That belief shaped every step he took, and in time the world bowed to match what his mind first conceived. You must be just as deliberate. You must build your belief system like a fortress. Write it, read it, speak it. Refuse to entertain the opinions of the defeated. Refuse to repeat the assumptions of the small. You are building a temple of thought, and only sacred belief may enter. Create now a short list of chosen beliefs. Write them on paper. These are to be repeated daily. These are to be spoken aloud with authority. Let me offer you a foundation. I am the architect of my destiny. Every thought I choose moves me closer to wealth, purpose, and peace. I do not dwell in the past. I build from it. My faith commands my future. I believe what I intend, and I intend greatness. Speak these aloud now, then make them your daily mantra, and add to them, tailor them, engrave them into the walls of your mind. For the mind accepts what is repeated, and repetition builds belief, and belief governs your every result. Do not tolerate contradiction. You cannot speak faith and believe fear. You cannot rehearse defeat and expect strength. You cannot declare a chief aim while secretly believing it is beyond you. That is the language of drift, and drift is the path to obscurity. Let me remind you, the subconscious mind does not care if a belief is true or false. It only obeys what is repeated with emotion. So if you repeat lies, even unknowingly, they will still form your reality. That is why you must be aggressive in replacing them with chosen declarations. Repeat this aloud. I reject every belief I did not choose. I speak only what builds. I think only what lifts. I act only upon thoughts that serve my purpose. I am no longer ruled by opinions. I am ruled by decision. Decision is the mark of mastery. The man who chooses his belief each morning and speaks it without apology is the man whose life will reflect power. He no longer asks permission to think. He no longer waits for evidence before he believes. He chooses, he believes, he repeats, and life obeys. There is no magic in this. There is only law. And the law is this: belief, repeated with emotion and acted upon daily, becomes reality. That is the path. That is the system. That is the furnace in which all greatness is forged. Chapter 6. Replace limitation with declaration. If you would rise above the boundaries of your past, you must speak beyond the limits of your present. A man is not shaped merely by what he does, but by what he declares. Your words form the mold of your future. Thought is the spark, but declaration is the hammer that strikes it into shape. Many men fail not for lack of talent, but because they continue to affirm their limitation. They say, "I'm not ready, I've always been this way, it never works for me." These are not casual remarks. They are verbal blueprints, and the subconscious mind begins building accordingly. What you declare repeatedly becomes what you experience. Do not confuse this with idle boasting. This is not noise. This is not shouting for attention. This is not arrogance. This is spiritual alignment. To declare is to give order. It is to assert identity. It is to say, "I am the master of my thought, and I command life to move in this direction." Let me be clear, you cannot erase limitation by silence. You must replace it with declaration. If your mind has been filled with doubt, you must not merely suppress it. You must confront it with deliberate, forceful truth. Silence permits the lie to linger. Speaking truth drives it out. The proper declaration begins with the phrase, "I am the man who," followed by a vivid picture of the quality or outcome you intend to embody. It might be, "I am the man who attracts wealth by action and faith," or "I am the man who speaks with power and leads with confidence." This statement must become sacred. Say this aloud now. "I am the man who lives with purpose. I am the man who commands his mind. I am the man who is becoming all that I have imagined, by decision, by discipline, by daily declaration." You may feel resistance as you speak this. That is proof of old programming being challenged. That is the voice of limitation losing its grip. Press on. Say it louder. Say it again. Speak until the new identity silences the old one. This is not fantasy. It is formation. Now understand this. Declarations are not lies. They are commitments. They are signals to the subconscious of your chosen direction. And once received consistently, the subconscious will begin shaping thought, habit, and behavior in alignment with the spoken word. It cannot resist the tone of repeated command. Let us consider Andrew Carnegie. Before he built steel empires, he built an empire of thought. He declared what he would become. He imagined himself as captain of industry long before he possessed wealth. And through constant reinforcement, spoken belief, written aim, and relentless action, he became what he had first declared. You must do the same. Build your future by word before you build it by hand. Form your character in speech before it is seen in conduct. Declare the truth until you believe it, and then believe it until the world reflects it. This is the discipline of greatness. Repeat this now with complete authority. Every day I speak the man I am becoming. I do not describe my fear. I do not rehearse my failure. I declare the man I choose to be, and my mind, my voice, my habits, and my world obey. Let your declarations be consistent. Let them be daily. Let them be filled with belief. Do not utter them passively. Stand up, shoulders back, head lifted. Speak as a man who means it. The subconscious listens to tone, not merely to words. It obeys emotional certainty. Let us create 3 foundational declarations. Say each one aloud and write them for daily use. I am the man who finishes what he starts. I am the man who thinks with clarity and walks in faith. I am the man who earns what he desires through daily purpose. Use these to begin, then write your own, based upon your chief aim, your desired qualities, your new identity. Speak them each morning. Repeat them at midday. Speak again before rest. The mind must be trained just as the body is trained through daily discipline. Let us go further. Your declaration must not only be about who you are, but also about how you handle pressure. Declare in advance the way you will behave in moments of doubt. Say, when fear rises, I speak faith. When delay comes, I declare persistence. When others hesitate, I affirm action. You must be rehearsed in victory before the battle comes. Remember, you do not speak truth because you feel it. You speak it because you've chosen it. The emotion may not always be present. That does not matter. What matters is repetition. In time, emotion will catch up to the discipline of the tongue. Do not say, "I'll try." Say, "I will." Do not say, "I hope." Say, "I decide." Do not say, "Maybe one day." Say, "I begin now." These are the declarations of a man who understands that his future listens most closely not to his plans, but to his voice. Repeat this command aloud and do not whisper. I replace all limitation with declaration. I speak the man I am becoming. I act upon my word. I repeat my identity until it becomes my destiny. This is not ceremony, it is law. And every man who rises from obscurity to influence has done so by mastering this one skill, the power to declare himself into alignment with his chosen future. If you will do the same, your name will not be forgotten. Chapter 7. The power of your own voice. You possess a power so near, so constant, and so easily overlooked that most men die having never harnessed it. That power is your own voice, not the voice of books, not the voice of lectures, not the voice of preachers or politicians, but the spoken vibration of your own thought through your own breath. When you speak aloud, you do more than echo sounds into the air. You vibrate belief into being. You issue commands to your subconscious mind. You reinforce or destroy. You activate faith or feed fear. The tone you carry, the cadence you use, the firmness of your word, it all builds the inner man or tears him down. Let this truth be carved into the walls of your mind. The subconscious responds to repetition, but it responds more quickly to repetition spoken aloud. This is why I teach men to read their definite chief aim morning and night, not silently, not casually, but aloud with emotion and purpose. Understand this, the spoken word is more powerful than the written one when it carries belief. The mouth is the instrument by which internal belief becomes external influence. The man who controls his voice controls his future. For speech is the mirror of thought, and thought is the beginning of all success. If your speech is soft, unsure, hesitant, filled with uncertainty, it is not because you lack ability. It is because you have allowed doubt to control the instrument. But just as a musician sharpens his tone through discipline, so can you condition your voice to match your identity. Speak this aloud now with unwavering tone. I trust the power of my voice. My words shape my future. I speak as a man of decision, faith, and purpose. There is no man who rose to greatness without learning to speak his future into existence. Consider Lincoln, a quiet man, but when he spoke, his voice carried weight that shook nations, not because of volume, but because of conviction, not because of rhetoric, but because of belief. Let your voice become the trumpet of your transformation. Let every word you speak carry the vibration of the man you are becoming. Speak your affirmations, not as hopes, but as declarations. Let them ring with finality. Let them echo with identity. But beware. The voice can also destroy. A man who continually speaks failure, limitation, self-deprecation, sarcasm, and doubt is using the same power to dig his own grave. The subconscious accepts these words and begins organizing life accordingly. You must therefore train your tongue as you would train a soldier. It must speak only what aligns with purpose. It must remain silent when tempted to echo fear. It must declare truth even in the absence of evidence. For what you speak long enough, you will believe. And what you believe, you will become. Let me share the practice I demand of all men seeking power of speech. Stand before the mirror each morning. Read your chief aim aloud, slowly, with fire. Speak 3 affirmations, crafted with precision. Use your full voice, clear, deliberate, without apology. Listen to your tone, feel the belief, or expose its absence. If your voice trembles, train it. If your words falter, rewrite them. But never allow yourself to speak like a defeated man. Even if fear remains, your voice must speak higher. For in time, your words will lift your thoughts, and your thoughts will lift your actions. Now repeat this aloud with absolute conviction. My voice is my power. I train it to command. I train it to declare. I train it to align with my vision. I speak only that which builds my future. Remember, this is not self-flattery. This is mental conditioning. You are shaping the subconscious to accept a new image. And the spoken word is the chisel that carves that image deeper than thought alone. Think of Edison, who declared again and again that he would find a way to harness electric light, even when the world laughed, even when his laboratory burned, even when failure knocked 1,000 times. But he spoke the end result before it appeared, and in time, it obeyed. So must you. Speak it before you see it. Speak it until you believe it. Speak it until your very voice carries the weight of certainty. For once the voice is conditioned, hesitation flees, and the world cannot ignore a man who speaks with the tone of victory. Now go and record your own speech. Listen to it daily. Hear the tone. Hear the gaps. Hear where belief breaks. And speak louder in those places. Rehearse strength until it is your default. Train your voice until the words of faith flow as naturally as breath. You will never speak like a king while believing like a beggar. But the voice, when trained, begins to reshape belief. You may begin in doubt, but you will end in mastery if you discipline your tongue to match your chosen future. Repeat this final command aloud. I speak my purpose until it becomes me. I train my voice until it commands. I do not speak fear. I do not speak failure. I speak only that which aligns with who I have chosen to be. Chapter 8. Thought without emotion is powerless. Thought is the seed, and repetition is the water. But it is emotion that gives life. Without emotion, your thoughts remain dry. Without feeling, your affirmations remain hollow. Without desire, your repeated statements fall on deaf ears within your own subconscious. Emotion is the heat that makes thought boil into belief. The subconscious mind does not respond to intellect alone. It is moved by feeling. It is directed not by the cold language of reason, but by the hot fire of conviction. A man may repeat 1,000 affirmations, but if he does so without emotion, he is simply reciting words without substance. This is why I insist upon repetition with emotional force. Not volume, emotion, not noise, conviction. You must feel what you say. You must think with your whole being. You must declare your identity not merely with lips, but with spirit. The subconscious listens not only to sound, but to the vibration beneath the sound. Let me speak plainly. Thoughts that are not felt are forgotten. Words without feeling leave no imprint. Affirmations without desire carry no weight. If your thoughts do not stir you, how shall they move your circumstances? If your declarations do not ignite your soul, how shall they ignite action? Repeat this aloud with full presence. I speak only what I feel only what I choose. My emotion serves my belief commands my future. Emotion must be trained, just as thought is trained. You must stir your desire before you speak. You must remember the pain of limitation, the thrill of purpose, the urgency of your goal, and then let that feeling fuel your affirmation. Speak with fire. Speak with vision. Speak with the weight of your desire behind every word. Let us reflect on Barnes, who arrived at Edison's doorstep not with credentials, but with burning desire. He said, I have come to go into business with Edison, and he spoke it not as a wish, but as a fact. He felt it. He believed it. And even though he swept floors for months, he held that emotion until it moved the world. That is the difference. Most men speak what they hope, but the man who succeeds speaks what he believes, and believes what he feels, and feels it so deeply that life bends to match it. Emotion is the magnet. It draws opportunity, commands tone, and saturates the subconscious with belief. Let us make this practical. Before each repetition of your chief aim or affirmation, pause, breathe, stir the fire, recall the reason, picture the result, feel the hunger, then speak with fire, with fullness, with intensity. Let the words rise from within, not fall from the tongue. Now say this aloud. My words are not hollow. They are full of life. My voice is fueled by purpose. My speech is soaked in faith. I feel my destiny as I declare it. Understand this. Emotion is not weakness. It is weapon. When directed, it gives depth to every thought. It charges the nervous system. It expands your presence. And when paired with repeated thought, it becomes unbreakable belief. You must train yourself to feel in the direction of your chief aim. You must attach excitement, gratitude, fire, urgency, not doubt or indifference. You must condition yourself to feel the end result before it appears, for that is what moves it toward you. Most men allow their emotions to be dictated by circumstances. They feel strong when results appear. They feel weak when setbacks come. But the man of mastery decides what he will feel. He chooses his inner state, and by doing so, he becomes cause, not effect. Let us speak now of visualization, for emotion strengthens when image and repetition are joined. When you declare your chief aim, do not speak blindly. See the outcome, feel it, walk in it. Let your imagination burn it into the walls of your mind, for what is imagined with emotion becomes accepted as truth. Say this aloud and with deep belief. I feel the result I am creating. I see it, hear it, taste it, and walk in it before it appears. My emotion is my proof. My conviction is my power. If you have ever wondered why some men rise while others circle in the same life, it is because those who rise feel their purpose deeply and daily. They do not need proof. They live by inner flame. And that flame is fanned each morning by emotional repetition of thought. So before you speak again your affirmation, ask, do I feel what I say? Do I mean what I repeat? If the answer is no, then pause. Stir the feeling. Picture the result. Remember the reason. Let the words emerge from that inner well of belief. This is how thought is transmuted into faith. And this is how faith moves the body, the mind, the world. Emotion is the catalyst. Without it, you recite. With it, you transform. It is the difference between reading a map and walking the path. Repeat this declaration slowly and with breath. My thoughts are not empty. My voice is not passive. I feel the man I am becoming. I feel the world I am shaping. I feel the power that is forming within me. Each time I speak with belief. Emotion, then, is the bridge. It links the seen to the unseen. It links the present to the future. It brings life to thought, fire to speech, and gravity to belief. Without it, all else remains theory. Chapter 9, Environment is Programming. You cannot rise into power while living in an environment that whispers doubt. Your surroundings are not neutral. They are either programming you for greatness or pulling you back into drift. Every wall you see, every voice you hear, every book you read, every word spoken in your presence conditions your mind toward action or toward sleep. Understand this. Environment is not background, it is input. And the mind, especially the subconscious, absorbs every input. The tone of voices around you, the order or disorder of your dwelling, the ambitions or fears of your companions. These do not merely pass through you. They shape your mood, your belief, and your decisions. Let me say it directly. You are either creating your environment or you are being created by it. There is no man who thinks great thoughts while surrounded by the petty. There is no man who holds high vision while entertaining gossip and triviality. The soul requires clean space to expand. Repeat this aloud. I design my environment to match my purpose. I remove all voices, images, and influences that weaken my belief. I live in alignment with the man I intend to become. Let us go further. If your room is cluttered, your thinking will be distracted. If your shelves are filled with fiction and folly, Your thoughts will mirror confusion. If your companions speak only of limits, fear, and the impossible, you will carry their tone into your own decisions. You cannot permit this. If you are to recondition your identity, then your outer world must reflect the inner one you are building. Your home must speak of order. Your speech must echo purpose. Your schedule must match your definite chief aim. Your company must match your chosen destiny. This is not pride, it is precision. This is not vanity, it is law. If you live among the aimless, you will absorb their aimlessness. If you dwell among the clear-minded and the devoted, your mind will sharpen like iron on iron. Show me your companions, and I will show you your future. Now consider your conversations. Every word spoken in your presence either lifts or lowers your inner frame. Do not entertain the language of victims. Do not respond to the noise of cynics. Do not water your future with the sewage of the small-minded. Keep your conversations elevated. Make this a command. I only speak with purpose. I only listen to that which aligns with belief, decision, and discipline. I am deaf to the language of fear. Examine the art on your walls. Examine the music you consume. Examine the lighting, the structure, the silence, or the chaos. These things are not decoration. They are programming. They tell your mind whether it is living in order or confusion, and the subconscious obeys that message. Let us consider Carnegie again. His offices were not simply places of business. They were cathedrals of purpose. Every fixture, every meeting, every appointment was scheduled with the intensity of a man whose life matched his vision. He surrounded himself with order, and that order fueled his efficiency. Now do likewise. Organize your space to support your vision. Build a corner of solitude where you repeat your chief aim aloud. Place reminders on your desk, your door, your walls, so that even your surroundings whisper purpose. Let your environment drown out the voice of doubt. Speak this aloud with strength. My surroundings reflect the man I am becoming. I do not live in chaos. I do not walk with drifters. I do not think in clutter. I live, walk, and think in order, faith, and discipline. You may say, but I cannot yet change my environment. That is false. You can change what you read. You can change what you listen to. You can control your speech. You can leave the room when the talk turns to failure. Even the smallest shift in environment creates momentum. Even 1 hour per day in a space of clarity and purpose, where you read, visualize, speak your aim, can transform your identity. And once your identity changes, your surroundings will follow. The man who speaks as a king cannot remain in the slums. Either his speech will lower, or his station will rise. Now repeat this principle. Environment is programming. I build mine with intention. My surroundings feed my belief. I do not permit disorder to dominate my mind. This is why I taught the principle of controlled attention. Because you must not only select your thoughts, you must select what your senses absorb. Smells, sounds, sights, speech, even posture, all are teachers. All are seeds. All take root if repeated. Let us now move to the final command for this chapter. Remove from your environment everything that no longer serves your definite chief aim. Remove the books that confuse. Remove the posters that distract. Remove the voices that drain. Keep only that which strengthens. Let this affirmation be your shield. My environment is a temple. I protect it with thought. I guard it with discipline. I live among the symbols of my future. Chapter 10. You must starve the old self. You cannot become a new man while feeding the habits of the old. The self you aim to become and the self you once were cannot live under the same roof. One must rise and one must wither. And whichever self you feed with thought, with speech, with ritual, that is the self that survives. There is no neutrality in identity. If you are not building, you are defaulting. If you are not speaking life into your new identity, you are giving life to the old one by neglect. The self you seek to leave behind thrives on memory, on excuses, on comfort, and you feed it each time you replay its narrative. Repeat this now with strength. I no longer tell the story of the man I was. I do not repeat weakness. I do not feed the identity that failed. I starve the old self and speak only the man I am becoming. The old self survives on small things. The sentence, "I've always been like this." The shrug, the delay, the slouch, the idle complaint. Each is a spoonful of nourishment for the man you are trying to bury. If you would rise, you must stop feeding your own enemy. You cannot repeat your chief aim in the morning and repeat your doubts by midday. You cannot walk with boldness by day and then rehearse defeat in the solitude of your thoughts. Every moment is either sacrifice or surrender. Every word is either the breath of your new life or oxygen to the old one. Let me speak plainly. The old self will not leave quietly. He will bargain, he will plead, he will show you his memories, he will whisper, but this is who you are. And your only reply must be action. Silence him with discipline. Starve him with change. Consider a man who quits a poison but keeps it in his cupboard. He has not quit. He has delayed the fall. Likewise, if you say you are transforming, yet continue to feed the thought patterns, the friendships, the habits of your old self, you have not transformed. You have postponed the return. Repeat this aloud with fire. I owe nothing to the man I used to be. He cannot come with me. I starve his story. I deny his language. I withdraw all attention and energy from his memory. Understand this. Every time you speak of the past with regret, shame, or humor that glorifies failure, you are repainting the walls of your current identity. You must not only stop thinking like the old self, you must stop speaking him into existence. Let us make this practical. Starting today, no more telling stories of the man who failed, quit, avoided, feared. Tell no tales that reinforce limitation. Speak only as the man who is now rising. Frame every story, even the painful ones, as evidence of growth, not identity. Say this now. I do not feed weakness. I do not entertain failure. I extract the lesson and move on. I remove all glory from defeat. I walk forward and speak only what builds. Now let us consider your routine. Your former self was kept alive by a certain rhythm of when you rose, how you ate, how you thought, what you tolerated. If you continue to live in his pattern, you will continue to live in his shadow. Identity is tied to habit. You must disrupt the rhythm of the man you wish to leave behind. Begin tomorrow differently. Rise with urgency. Stand when you would sit. Speak when you would hesitate. Move before you are ready. Each deviation weakens the old self's grip. Each decision is a cut to the cords that tether you to who you were. Let us study the life of Lincoln. He suffered defeat after defeat, yet did not carry those defeats as chains. He carried them as tools. He starved the voice of shame by feeding the voice of principle. He starved the identity of the small-town failure by speaking as a national leader long before he was one. You must do likewise. Deny the old voice its daily bread. Replace it with a new declaration, a new tone, a new posture. And over time, the man you were will weaken, like a fire left without fuel. Repeat this now with finality. The old self is no longer my reference point. I no longer feed him with words, attention, or memory. I rise as the new man, and the old must fade. You may feel tension in this process. That is natural. The old self has years of residence in your being. He will attempt to reclaim the throne, but repetition defeats nostalgia. New action overrides old sentiment. Speak louder than his whisper. Move faster than his delay. And when others speak to you of who you were, do not argue. Simply outgrow their memory. Let your life become so transformed that they can no longer recognize the version they once knew. Chapter 11. Feed the new identity daily. A man does not become great through a single act. He becomes great through daily obedience to a vision of himself that is higher than the self he left behind. If you would remain free from the old identity, you must feed the new one every single day, with thought, with speech, with movement, and with purpose. You do not feed identity with food. You feed it with repetition, with rituals, with the daily honoring of your definite chief aim. You feed the new man by thinking as he thinks, by walking as he walks, by speaking what he would speak, and by refusing to break character, even when no one sees you. Repeat this now with precision. I feed the man I have chosen to become. I nourish him with discipline. I strengthen him with repetition. I affirm him daily until no part of the old self remains. Identity is not formed in lightning bolts. It is formed in footsteps. It is formed in mornings. It is formed in silence. It is formed when you repeat the same powerful command again and again until it is no longer effort. It is nature. You will become what you feed, and you will forget what you starve. Here is the method, and I demand that you follow it without fail. Do not treat this as an idea. Treat it as a law. 1. Each morning, stand and read aloud your definite chief aim, not softly, but with strength, with posture, with breath, with eyes forward and voice firm. Let your mind hear the command of your own destiny. Let your tone carry the weight of belief. 2. After reading, visualize, not vaguely, not loosely, but clearly, vividly, emotionally. See yourself already in possession of what you have claimed. See the income. See the influence. See the posture. See the room. See the respect. Walk in it in your mind. 3. Speak affirmations tied to your chosen identity. I am the man who acts with faith. I am the man who finishes what he begins. I am the man who moves before the world agrees. Make these your law. Let them form the core of your inner vocabulary. 4. Walk with the posture of your future self. Not when it's convenient, not when people are watching, all the time. Let your physical being reflect the man within. The subconscious sees the shoulders, feels the chest, senses the breath. It listens to your body. 5. Journal your progress. Each evening, write not of your problems, but of your proof. Record how you honored your aim. Record your victories of thought, your moments of strength. This is how you record a new memory track in the mind, a track that plays automatically with repetition. Repeat this aloud now. My days are not left to accident. My habits are the bricks of my identity. I feed the man I choose to become through ritual, discipline, and thought. Do not mistake this process for something casual. This is spiritual construction. You are building a mental fortress. You are reconditioning the subconscious mind to accept a new leader, you. And no man becomes ruler of his fate without ruling the unseen hours. Let us examine the story of Henry Ford. Before his name was known, before his machines changed the world, he fed his vision daily. He thought on purpose. He spoke only what built. He ignored every mocking voice. He rose early. He moved with direction. He fed his mind with certainty until that certainty shaped machines and men alike. So must you. You are not waiting to become something. You are acting as him now. You are feeding that identity until it is unshakable, until when doubt arrives, it finds no appetite, until when the world hesitates, you advance. And let me warn you, this discipline must not be interrupted. Skip one morning and the old self grins. Ignore your affirmations and fear re-enters the house. Fail to visualize and the image fades. You must feed the new self daily, or you will find yourself feeding the old one by default. Say this aloud without doubt. I do not miss my ritual. I do not excuse my practice. I do not delay my identity. I feed the new man daily, and he is growing stronger by the hour. Understand? The man who builds his identity daily becomes immune to external judgment. The world cannot sway him. Praise does not distract him. Criticism does not shake him, for his sense of self does not come from applause. It comes from repetition. You must not merely believe this, you must experience it. And that comes only through consistent action. Discipline is not restriction, it is liberation. It is the freeing of your mind from the grip of drift. It is the declaration, I am not a slave to emotion. I am a servant to decision. Repeat this with strength and certainty. I have chosen who I am. I honor that choice through ritual. I feed my vision with repetition, and I become daily what I have already claimed. When others say, you've changed, you must nod. When they say, you seem different, smile. They are witnessing the fruit of what you planted in silence, and what you planted was the daily feeding of a new self, a self they cannot yet comprehend. Chapter 12. The brain accepts what you repeat. Your brain is not a judge, it is a recorder. It does not question the truth of what you say, it accepts what you repeat. It does not argue with your affirmations, it obeys them. It does not care if you speak in fear or in faith, it follows the rhythm of your repetition. This is a law, not a theory. This is not based on chance, emotion, or luck. It is the law of autosuggestion. Whatever thought is impressed upon the subconscious through repeated emotional statement is eventually accepted as fact and acted upon accordingly. And your identity is shaped by this law every single day. Repeat this aloud with full awareness. My mind accepts what I repeat. I am the master of repetition. I impress truth into my subconscious until it becomes my identity. Think carefully. You may not remember every word you speak, but your subconscious does. Every time you say, I'm tired, I'm unsure, I always fail, the mind records that. It builds a file. It stores it as truth. And with enough repetition, it begins to form behavior to match that belief. This is how most men program themselves into mediocrity. They joke about their limitations. They casually affirm their doubt. They speak idly. But the subconscious is never idle. It records, it builds, it repeats, and soon the man becomes a reflection of every careless word he has spoken. Now consider what happens when a man takes command of repetition, when he speaks on purpose, when he repeats with fire, daily, the image of who he chooses to be, when he says, I am the man who rises early, I am the man who executes, I am the man who leads. Then the subconscious begins reorganizing everything in his life to match that picture. You must become a commander, not a victim of repetition. Every morning, plant the right thoughts. Every night, water them again, speak them aloud, feel them, believe them, and do not stop, not for a day, not for a moment. For the brain does not resist what is repeated, it accepts it. Let us take the example of Woodrow Wilson. Long before he became president, he practiced the tone, the posture, and the presence of a statesman. He repeated his ideals, his aims, his statements of destiny. He declared them so often that he became them. He was president in his mind long before the office caught up to him. You are no different. What you speak with repetition, you will live. What you think with feeling, you will become. What you repeat with belief, you will create. This is the hidden key to all self-mastery. This is the mechanism of all transformation. Now repeat this aloud, slowly and with strength. I plant my beliefs through repetition. I do not speak idly. I do not think carelessly. I impress greatness upon my mind every single day. You must treat your mind as fertile soil. Your words are seeds, your emotions are water, and your repetition is the sunlight. Plant garbage and garbage will grow. Plant vision, purpose, strength, and you will reap results in exact proportion to your repetition. But beware, the weeds of old thought grow quickly when left alone. If you do not plant new thoughts, the old ones return. If you do not speak with purpose, drift will fill the silence. You are either programming your mind, or it is being programmed by memory and surroundings. Let us make this a law. Every affirmation must be spoken aloud. Every declaration must be repeated at least twice daily. Every chief aim must be recited until memorized and spoken with full voice. Every negative statement must be caught and replaced instantly. Every day without repetition is a day the old self regains ground. This is your charge. This is your blueprint. And this is how you take hold of the mind that shapes your world. Say this now. I do not drift. I do not repeat weakness. I repeat only what I choose to become. And I repeat it until the world has no choice but to reflect it. You may say it feels false. That does not matter. The subconscious does not know the difference between imagination and reality. It only knows repetition with emotion. If you feel it deeply and speak it often, it becomes your reality, regardless of where you started. Repetition is not a trick. It is the building of mental muscle. Just as the arm becomes strong by lifting weight each day, so does the mind become strong by lifting truth each morning. And in time, that truth becomes your nature. When I wrote Think and Grow Rich, I repeated my own aim aloud daily. I declared my mission. I affirmed my strength. And I did not stop when results were small. I did not stop when doubt crept in. I did not stop when others questioned me. I continued until repetition became belief and belief became result. You must do the same, and more. You must build a mind so conditioned by truth that the old lies cannot breathe in your presence. You must speak with such repetition that hesitation flees. You must think with such frequency that your identity has no option but to rise. Let this final command ring out from your lips. I repeat until it becomes me. I speak until it shapes me. I think until it guides me. I believe until I act without doubt. Repetition is my power, and I use it with precision. Chapter 13. Words are creation. The words you speak are not descriptions of life. They are commands to life. They do not merely reflect your state of mind. They create it. Every sentence you utter is a blueprint handed directly to the subconscious, and the subconscious begins its construction without delay. I tell you now, words are not idle. Words are not cheap. Words are not harmless. Every word carries the vibration of belief or the echo of doubt. Every spoken phrase either affirms the man you are building or resurrects the man you have buried. Say this with clarity. I speak only to create. I speak only to command. I speak only what serves the man I am becoming. You must learn to guard your tongue as you would guard your fortune, for a careless word is more dangerous than a careless investment. It pays compound interest in self-destruction. One sentence of self-pity, when repeated, becomes a lifetime of paralysis. One sarcastic phrase of limitation, when accepted, becomes identity. This is why I have taught men, speak with purpose or speak not at all. Do not say, I am always like this. Do not say, nothing ever works for me. Do not say, I'm just not that type. Every time you speak in such fashion, you are reinforcing the very limitation you seek to escape. Let me give you this command. Replace all descriptive speech with creative speech. Do not tell me what is. Tell me what you are building. Do not speak of the past unless to draw power. Do not describe your current difficulty unless to affirm the strength with which you will overcome it. Repeat this aloud and do not whisper, my words are the tools of my construction. I speak with purpose. I declare with vision. I affirm my destiny aloud. Think of Edison, who spoke of electric light not as an idea, but as a coming fact. When others mocked, he declared. When his laboratories failed, he declared again. He said what would be. And because he said it with fire, with frequency, and with faith, it became so. This is not mere optimism. This is not wishful thinking. This is mental architecture. This is the spiritual law that governs transformation. The spoken word shapes the unconscious mind, which shapes all action, all emotion, and all result. The tongue, then, is not for decoration. It is for declaration. Use it with reverence. Use it with precision. Use it with unbreakable alignment to the man you are creating. Let me give you 3 laws of creation by word. Never speak what you do not want. To say, I'm always tired, is to command the body to remain weak. To say, I'm never good at this, is to instruct the mind to remain inadequate. Speak in present identity. Do not say, I will be. Say, I am becoming. Do not say, someday I'll. Say, I am already acting as the man who. Repeat aloud daily. Your affirmations are your armor. Your declarations are your building blocks. The more you speak them, the more they shape your subconscious. And the more your subconscious shapes the world around you. Say this aloud now and feel the weight of it. I create with my tongue. I build with my tone. I speak only the man I have chosen to be. My words do not describe, they define. You must now examine every phrase that leaves your lips. You must begin to catch every word of limitation, of sarcasm, of self-degradation, of pity, of excuse. And you must replace it immediately with words of clarity, strength, belief, and intention. If you would be wealthy, you must speak like the man who commands wealth. If you would be wise, speak only wisdom. If you would be respected, let every word carry dignity. If you speak like the man you were, you shall remain him. If you speak like the man you are becoming, you shall meet him. Now repeat this affirmation with full strength. Every word I speak builds my future. I do not speak of failure. I do not affirm defeat. I speak only in direction, in discipline, and in dominion. The old self will attempt to sneak into your speech. He will dress his language in humor, in humility, in apology, but you must not allow him voice. You are now the gatekeeper, and your gate is your tongue. What you allow through it will multiply. Now let us speak of tone, for it is not merely the word, but the way you speak it that matters. Your tone is the emotion behind the sentence, and the subconscious listens more to tone than to syllables. If you say, I believe I can, but your voice wavers, you do not believe. If you say, I am strong, but you whisper it, you are not strong. Speak with tone, speak with presence, speak with certainty. Let your voice carry your future in its vibration. Repeat this final command for this chapter. My voice is my sword, my words are my hammer. I speak to create, I speak to command. I speak only what builds my chosen identity. Chapter 14. Emotion is a tool, not a master. Emotion is power, but it was never meant to govern the man. It is a servant, not a king. Most men fall because they feel before they decide. They allow emotion to rise and then submit their thinking to it. But you, if you would become master of destiny, must learn to direct emotion like fire in a furnace. Let us speak plainly. Emotion is the fuel of belief. It is not to be denied nor destroyed. It is to be harnessed. You do not conquer feeling by numbing it. You conquer it by directing it toward your purpose. The disciplined man does not feel less. He feels higher. Say this aloud with presence. My emotion is mine to command. I do not follow my moods. I instruct them. I feel on purpose, and I feel in alignment with my chief aim. When I teach the principle of autosuggestion, I do not say repeat words passively. I say repeat them with feeling, with conviction, with spirit. For emotion is what stamps the thought into the subconscious mind. It is the fire that welds thought into belief. But the same fire that builds can destroy. And this is where most men fall. They allow emotion to run untamed. They say, I'm just not feeling it today. And because of that, they do not move. They say, I feel afraid, and so they do not speak. They say, I feel doubtful, and so they do not begin. This is backwards. The man of mastery acts regardless of feeling. He does not wait to feel courage. He acts and feeling catches up. He does not wait to feel belief. He repeats the belief until the feeling is kindled. Emotion must be led, not followed. Repeat this now with fire. I act before I feel. I move before I am ready. My emotion is my servant. It does not rule me. I choose what I feel, and I train it daily. Let us take the example of Barnes, who went to Edison without money, position, or assurance, but with emotion properly aimed. He had burning desire. He had faith so alive it became visible in his posture, his tone, his persistence. He did not wait to feel certain. He declared certainty, and certainty came. This is your pattern. When doubt arrives, speak louder. When fear whispers, move faster. When lethargy tempts you, rise with urgency. Emotion changes not through reflection, but through command. You must tell it where to go, not ask it where it wishes to take you. Let me give you 3 laws of emotional mastery. Emotion follows focus. If you dwell on what is lacking, you feel weak. If you dwell on what is coming, you feel power. Direct your focus, and you direct your state. Emotion amplifies repetition. Speak your affirmation with full breath, posture, and tone, and the feeling will catch flame. The subconscious will receive it deeper. Feel what you speak. Speak what you feel. Emotion is trained through action. Do the hard thing again and again, and soon your body will no longer associate it with fear. The feeling of dread is burned out by the fire of repetition. Say this aloud as a vow. I train my emotion like a warrior trains his blade. I do not follow weakness. I do not obey fear. I direct my feeling to match my future. Many men say, but I can't help how I feel. That is false. You can help what you repeat. You can help what you focus on. You can help how you move, how you breathe, how you speak. And when you help these, your feeling changes. Do not let emotion become your excuse. Let it become your engine. If you are angry, channel it into progress. If you are afraid, convert it into urgency. If you are discouraged, let that heaviness become fuel for movement. Look to Lincoln, who suffered deeply, yet allowed that sorrow to make him more thoughtful, more deliberate, more anchored in principle. He did not allow pain to blind him. He allowed it to deepen his sense of responsibility. This is mastery. This is manhood. This is the trait of the uncommon few who rise. They are not without emotion. They are with commanded emotion. Emotion that serves aim. Emotion that bows to discipline. Repeat this aloud. I do not trust every feeling. I test it. I train it. I transform it. I rise in emotion that serves me, and I discard what weakens me. This is why I teach morning rituals, not because of mysticism, but because they train the feeling before the world has a chance to corrupt it. A man who repeats his aim, his affirmation, and his belief aloud each morning walks into the world already full. His emotion is set. His tone is aligned. His being is calibrated. If you do not set your emotion, the world will do it for you. And the world is not concerned with your greatness. You must become your own mental engineer. You must decide what to feel, how to feel it, and how long to feel it, then train your body and mind to obey. Final affirmation of this chapter, repeat now. I feel on purpose. I do not follow emotion. I form it. I do not wait for strength. I ignite it. My mind is captain. My emotion is crew. Chapter 15. Action is the proof of belief. You may say what you believe. You may write it on paper, declare it aloud, repeat it in silence, but until you act, it is not yours. Belief is not a whisper in the dark. Belief is the hand that moves. Belief is the step that walks. Belief is the decision that risks. And until you act on what you claim to believe, your mind will not accept it as truth. You may speak 1,000 affirmations, but if your hands are idle, your feet are still, your calendar remains blank, then those affirmations are empty rituals. The subconscious mind accepts belief through movement. Action is the final seal. Action makes it real. Say this aloud. My belief is proven by action. I do not wait. I do not ponder endlessly. I move. I act. I do. Understand this. The man who acts builds evidence, and evidence strengthens belief. Every time you act in alignment with your chief aim, you tell your subconscious, "This is who I am." Every small decision made in faith becomes a stone in the fortress of identity. Do not confuse thought for belief. Many men think, few act. Many wish, few building. Many affirm in private, yet flee the first opportunity to prove their belief through bold action. But belief without action is a seed thrown on stone. It cannot take root. Let me remind you of Ford. When he decided to create the V8 engine, every engineer told him it was impossible. But Ford didn't wait for agreement. He gave the order. He acted. He forced belief into the blueprint. That is the nature of one who believes. He acts as though his vision is already fact. So must you. If you believe in your purpose, then schedule it, build it, speak it aloud to others. Begin now, not next week. The subconscious watches closely. It notes when your actions match your affirmations. When they do, belief is deepened. When they don't, belief dissolves. Repeat this now. I act before the world approves. I act before conditions are perfect. My action is the signal that my belief is real. Do not wait for emotion to feel strong. Do not wait for motivation to be high. Do not wait for clarity to be complete. Act, and you will feel. Act, and you will find strength. Act, and clarity will come. Action cures doubt. Action silences fear. Action quiets the inner critic. It is not thought that silences anxiety, it is action. Thought may stir belief, but only doing forges it into your nervous system. You must take steps, make decisions, speak aloud, walk into the room, even when your mind trembles. This is why I command repetition in both speech and execution. When you say your affirmation, follow it with a move. If you say, "I am disciplined," then wake early and prove it. If you say, "I am courageous," then speak when it is hard. If you say, "I am a builder," then build today, not tomorrow. Repeat this with resolve. My belief lives in my calendar. My belief walks in my steps. My belief is shown by how I rise, how I speak, how I move. The man who waits to act until he feels worthy will never act. Worthiness is built through action. No man is ready at the beginning. No man begins with perfect faith, but the one who moves anyway. He is the one whose mind rewires. Let us look to Carnegie, who as a boy worked as a telegraph messenger. He did not wait for riches to behave with honor. He acted with excellence when no one watched. He carried himself with vision before others believed. And those actions, not just his thoughts, built a mind of dominion. That is your standard. You are not simply a speaker of new ideas. You are an executor of new identity. Let your belief touch the world. Let your footsteps speak for your declarations. Let your discipline carry your desires from the unseen into the visible. Say this again with boldness. I do not wait. I move. I act. I do. My belief is not hidden in theory. It is written in my behavior. Every day must contain proof. You must build a body of evidence. So when doubt comes, you can point to your deeds. When fear arrives, you can say, I've already begun. When resistance appears, you can press forward on the strength of your own movement. This is how faith becomes permanent, through steps, through calls, through work, through forward motion, especially in the face of resistance. The man who acts when it is difficult becomes the man who cannot be stopped. Do not speak of your vision without building it. Do not recite your aim without aligning your steps. And do not say someday when you could say now. Let this be your commandment. Every day I prove my belief with action. I align my steps with my speech. I show the world my destiny through movement. Chapter 16, Control Attention, Control Identity. The man who controls his attention controls his identity. For attention is the gate through which all thought enters, and thought, repeated and emotionalized, becomes belief. Whatever you continually attend to, you eventually become. That is not mere philosophy, it is law. The majority of men drift because they do not guard their attention. They let their thoughts roam like animals in the street. Their minds are led by noise, by gossip, by trouble, by trifles. And because they do not direct their attention, their identity is shaped by accident. Repeat this now. I guard my attention as I guard my purpose. I choose what I think. I decide what I dwell upon. I am not a victim of thought. I am the master of it. If you dwell on past mistakes, you strengthen failure. If you focus on fears, you deepen them. If you rehearse petty insults, you shrink. If you attend to every opinion, you become blurred. But if you fix your mind on your chief aim, you sharpen into a man of power. Controlled attention is the very weapon by which you defeat drift. When the mind strays, you pull it back. When fear rises, you focus on faith. When distractions tempt, you return to your aim. When emotion floods, you anchor in repetition. This is not mere discipline. It is the work of becoming. Say this aloud. I bring my thoughts under command. I do not feed fear. I do not feed failure. I feed vision. I feed belief. I feed only what I wish to multiply. You must now make it your habit to catch your mind wandering and bring it home. You must create a routine of attentional mastery. Let nothing enter your awareness that does not belong to the man you are becoming. Here is your daily method. Start the day with clear direction. Before the world can scatter your attention, speak your definite chief aim aloud. Let it guide your mind like a compass. Interrupt negative drift. When you catch your mind revisiting weakness, fear, or old memories, speak an affirmation aloud to shift direction. Say, I do not feed this thought, I choose another. Review your aim throughout the day, on paper, on your wall, in your speech. Return to it when tired. Return to it when tempted. Let no hour pass without realigning your attention. End the day in reflection. Ask, where did my attention dwell today? If it wandered, forgive yourself, but correct. If it was focused, reward yourself with praise. This is the invisible discipline of the powerful. The man who guards his attention builds a self that cannot be disturbed. He is not ruled by trend, by mockery, or even by circumstance, because his mind has been trained to remain upon his chosen path. Let us look to Lincoln once again. During war, criticism, loss, and fatigue, he fixed his attention on the preservation of Union. He read, studied, reflected, and spoke always from this aim. Others yelled, he remained focused. Others panicked, he returned to purpose. That focus shaped a nation. So must you remain. You are not to be ruled by impulse. You are not to chase every distraction. You are to build a mind that obeys your higher self. And you do so by the daily return to your chief aim, 1,000 times a day, if necessary. For the mind wanders, but it can be brought back. Repeat this now as a command. I direct my attention as a captain steers his ship. I do not drift. I do not sway. I keep my mind fixed upon the future I am building. Do not underestimate this. Attention is life. What you attend to, you create. What you ignore, dies. If you constantly return your attention to discipline, to purpose, to faith, to action, then discipline, purpose, faith, and action become your nature. Let me offer you this final instruction. Write your definite chief aim in large, visible words. Place it where your eyes must meet it daily. Let it stare back at you. Let it correct you. Let it demand your attention when the world tries to scatter it. Let this be your closing affirmation. I fix my thoughts like stone. I control what enters. I magnify what matters. My attention creates my identity, and I give it only to what I choose to become. Chapter 17. Eliminate the poison words. If you would recondition the mind for power, you must purge it of the poisons that have weakened your speech. Certain words are not merely harmless habits. They are slow-acting toxins. And if left unchallenged, they will rot the very root of your belief and identity. Words such as, I can't, I always mess up. It never works. These are not figures of speech. They are commands to your subconscious mind, and the subconscious, being neutral and obedient, accepts them as instructions and builds your identity accordingly. Say this now with strength. I no longer speak poison. I no longer affirm limitation. I no longer agree with weakness. My words now build. My words now strengthen. My words now lead. Each time you say, I'm just not that type of person, you instruct your subconscious to preserve that limitation. Each time you joke about being lazy, being unlucky, being incapable, you are carving that belief deeper into your being. The mind does not understand humor. It understands repetition. Let me be clear. There is no neutral language. Every word either builds or breaks. It either pulls you toward your purpose or anchors you in your past. There are no idle phrases. Each sentence is either a servant of your aim or an ally of your fear. If you catch yourself saying, I can't, you must immediately follow it with, but I am learning. If you hear yourself say, I always fail, replace it with, that was then. Now I persist. You must rewrite every limiting phrase in real time. This is not optional. It is essential. Repeat this aloud. I do not repeat failure. I do not speak defeat. I do not curse my own path. I speak only words that direct, empower, and instruct my mind to rise. I instruct you now, keep a log for 1 week. Write down every phrase you say aloud that weakens your aim. Every I don't know, every I'm not sure, every I'll try must be recorded. And then rewrite them. Replace with certainty. Replace with purpose. Replace with a tone that matches the man you are building. Let us examine Thomas Edison again. How many times did he hear the world say, it can't be done? And yet he refused to repeat that phrase. He did not allow his speech to carry doubt. He declared, he commanded, he announced what would be, and acted accordingly. That is the difference between drift and dominion. You must declare war on poisonous speech. Say nothing in jest that you do not want to live. Never repeat a label placed on you by others. Refuse to adopt the vocabulary of failure. Speak only that which your future self would recognize as truth. Repeat now, boldly and without apology. I do not joke about weakness. I do not speak defeat. I reject all language that limits my belief. I speak as the man I am choosing to become. Understand this. If you repeat poison, you must live with its symptoms: self-doubt, procrastination, fear, hesitancy, passivity. But if you repeat power, you will breathe it. You will walk in it. You will become it, not by accident, but by design. The subconscious mind is always listening. It hears your sarcasm. It hears your mockery. It hears your phrases of failure, even when spoken casually, and it acts on them. It takes your words as blueprints. You must give it only what you want built. Let us return to the law of substitution. If you catch yourself saying, I'm not good with people, substitute it with, I am learning to speak with confidence. If you say, I always quit, replace it with, I am now the man who finishes what he begins. This is mental alchemy. This is the work. Repeat this command. I substitute poison with power. I replace sarcasm with strength. I eliminate every phrase that weakens my aim. My language is now aligned with success. Do not underestimate this practice. One phrase repeated in error for years can chain a man. One word spoken over and over becomes law in the mind. And until it is replaced, the chain remains. But once replaced, repeated daily, declared with faith, it becomes the new command, the new self, the new destiny. Let your every sentence now be weighed. Does this phrase build or weaken? Does it reflect fear or faith? Is it spoken by the man I was or the man I am becoming? And if the answer condemns it, cast it out, replace it, rewrite your tongue, and you will rewrite your identity. Final affirmation. Say it aloud. My words now serve my destiny. I speak nothing that poisons. I declare only that which builds. My tongue is my tool of creation, and I wield it with precision. Chapter 18, Repetition Creates Rhythm. All success, whether of character, wealth, influence, or mastery, is the result of rhythm, not rush, not randomness, rhythm. The silent pattern of repetition carried out with purpose until it becomes law in the subconscious and order in the visible world. Understand this well. Habit is rhythm made permanent, and habit begins in thought. Thought repeated becomes belief. Belief expressed becomes behavior, and behavior continued becomes rhythm. It is this rhythm that governs the man, either as a servant to his aim or a slave to his drift. Repeat this now with certainty. I build my life through rhythm. I repeat only what I want to keep. I train my mind through the daily return to purpose. The subconscious mind is influenced most deeply not by brilliance, but by repetition. It accepts what it hears often, especially when spoken with emotion. If you repeat weakness, it becomes rhythm. If you repeat discipline, that too becomes rhythm. It is through this repetition that men program either defeat or dominion. Most do so unconsciously. They allow the environment to dictate what they hear, read, say, and believe. They allow the television, the gossip, the complaint, the sarcasm, and those rhythms are planted without resistance. But the man who rises to the heights of success plants his own rhythm. He chooses what to repeat. He chooses what to hear. He chooses what to say aloud each day. And through this deliberate repetition, he creates a current too strong for failure to survive in. Let me give you the formula. Speak your definite chief aim aloud twice daily. Do not mumble it. Do not merely recite it. Declare it. Let your voice carry the weight of belief. Let your body feel it. Repeat your affirmations aloud, morning and night. Choose words that match the identity you are building. I am the man who executes. I am the man who commands attention. I am the man who finishes. Visualize with rhythm. Set a time each day to close your eyes and see the man you are becoming. See him move, speak, build, and command. The mind will begin to carve this image deeper with every repetition. Act with rhythm. Your calendar must reflect your identity. The man who acts only when inspired has no rhythm. The man who acts by schedule, he is creating order within chaos. Repeat this now. I live by chosen rhythm. My day is structured around purpose. My thoughts return to my aim again and again until I become it. This is how hypnotic rhythm works. It is the silent current that carries a man forward or drags him downward. Most men are pulled into a rhythm of doubt, delay, indecision, complaint. But the builder of a new identity chooses his own beat. He becomes immune to distraction because he is tuned to a deeper pulse, the pulse of decision. Let us remember Andrew Carnegie. Before steel became his empire, he lived in rhythm. He read the same principles over and over. He surrounded himself with men who repeated vision aloud. His decisions became habits. His habits became success, not through flash, but through unbroken rhythm. Say this with me now. I do not rise by accident. I rise by rhythm. My identity is trained through repetition, and my repetition is daily, deliberate, and unbreakable. Even when you are tired, repeat. Even when you feel doubt, repeat. Even when the world mocks, repeat. The world cannot resist the man who has repeated belief into the core of his being. Let your rhythm become a wall against negativity. Let it become the armor that protects your attention. Let it become the flow that lifts you when others fall. For a man who has rhythm cannot be shaken because his roots are too deep to be disturbed. Affirm this now as law. I am a man of rhythm. My repetition builds power. My speech, my walk, my work, all move to the drum of discipline. This is not just mental training, it is spiritual warfare. You are driving out the rhythm of defeat and installing the rhythm of greatness. Each day you repeat, you deepen the trench of belief. Each day you say it again, walk it again, choose it again, you become more immune to hesitation. This is how nature operates. The sun rises with rhythm, the heart beats with rhythm, the tide moves with rhythm. So must your mind, if you wish to rise above the masses who drift in chaos. Make no mistake, repetition is not childish. Repetition is not beneath the wise. Repetition is the path of mastery. The champions of every domain repeated the same few actions with precision. They did not seek novelty, they sought rhythm. Let this be your closing affirmation. Repetition is my ritual. Rhythm is my path. I rise because I return again and again to purpose, to speech, to belief, to action. Chapter 19. Protect your mental diet. Just as a man's body becomes the result of what he consumes, so too does a man's mind become the result of what he allows in. The mental diet you feed upon daily will determine whether you rise in dominion or rot in doubt. You cannot think clearly while feeding on poison. You cannot hold faith while absorbing fear. Let me say this clearly and without apology. Most men are mentally sick not by chance but by choice. They listen to weak speech. They keep company with gossipers. They consume idle words, drama, and complaints like meals. And they wonder why they feel no strength in thought. Say this aloud now with full awareness. I do not consume what weakens me. I do not feast on fear. I do not digest defeat. I feed only on what strengthens my belief. There are 5 laws to building a strong mental diet. Violate them and you will drift. Follow them and you will become unshakable. Law 1. No complaining. A single complaint, when repeated aloud, becomes a decree to the subconscious mind. It says, "This is my condition, and I accept it." You may state facts, but never in the tone of a victim. Speak with clarity, not complaint. Law 2, no gossip. To speak of others' missteps is to shrink your own focus. The man who wastes thought on the failures of others will have none left for the building of his own fortune. Replace gossip with vision. Replace judgment with discipline. Law 3, no comparison. Do not dwell on the pace, appearance, or fortune of another man. This plants seeds of inadequacy in your own soil. Comparison poisons gratitude. Gratitude is the soil where confidence grows. Tend your own garden and let your growth speak for itself. Law 4. Consume only constructive speech and thought. If it does not feed your belief, if it does not strengthen your identity, if it does not reinforce your chief aim, it must be removed. You must become ruthless in curating your inputs. Law 5. Your environment must reflect your vision. The images, voices, books, and language around you must mirror the man you are becoming, not the man you are trying to forget. Decorate your room, your mind, and your speech with reminders of discipline and destiny. Repeat this aloud as a decree. My thoughts are sacred. My inputs are selective. I protect my mind as I protect my fortune. Only truth and purpose may enter. Let me tell you a truth. A single hour spent in the presence of mockers can undo a week of belief building. A single day surrounded by cynics can seed doubt that takes days to remove. That is why I instruct you. Protect your company, like a king protects his treasury. Think of Henry Ford, who was mocked repeatedly for refusing to read newspapers. They said he was ignorant. In truth, he was wise. He refused to consume the chaos of the day. He focused only on his work, his vision, and the men who believed with him. You must adopt the same strategy. If the news weakens your spirit, do not read it. If a conversation leaves you dull, do not return to it. If a friend mocks your discipline, remove him from your circle. You are building a mind, not collecting opinions. Say this now with resolve. I am responsible for what I consume. I guard my mind. I protect my thoughts. I feast only on that which builds the man I am becoming. Understand this. Belief is fragile in its early stages. Like fire, it must be fed carefully. A single gust of mockery can blow it out. But if you protect it, if you keep feeding it the proper mental diet, It becomes a flame, then a furnace, then a force that shapes your entire life. You must design your day with intention. From the moment you rise, ask, what shall I read? What shall I hear? Who shall I speak to? What will I allow into my inner world? This is not paranoia. It is preparation. The man who guards his inner life becomes master of his outer world. Let us remember Abraham Lincoln, who, during times of great national pressure, sought solitude not with idle conversation, but with the scriptures, with speeches, with writings that reminded him of purpose. He fed himself only what sustained strength. Let your home be a temple of purpose. Let your conversation reflect belief. Let your bookshelf shout destiny. Let your schedule echo your future. You are not just avoiding weakness, you are feeding strength. Repeat this aloud as law. I starve my doubt, I feed my faith, I silence distraction, I consume only what builds, my mental diet is now sacred. And if you fail in a moment, correct swiftly. Do not let one bad input spiral into a day of drifting. Forgive yourself, affirm anew, and return to your rhythm. This is mastery. This is ownership. This is the trait of men who refuse to be poisoned by the age in which they live. Chapter 20. The Mastermind for Identity Reinforcement. No man ever rose to lasting greatness alone. Not Edison, not Carnegie, not Ford, not Rockefeller. Every man who has built an empire first built a circle, a mastermind, a chosen council of minds in harmony with his aim. If you would reforge your identity, you must surround yourself with men who mirror your highest belief. Understand this now. Your identity does not grow in isolation. It grows through reflection, the reflection of those around you. You become like those whose voices you hear most often. If you walk with the defeated, you will adopt their tone. If you walk with the certain, you will speak their rhythm. Repeat this aloud. I choose my companions as I choose my thoughts. I walk with builders. I speak with believers. I allow only greatness near my mind. The mastermind is not a casual group. It is not social. It is sacred. It is a spiritual alliance based on a definite chief aim. Two or more minds working in perfect harmony become a third invisible force of wisdom, strength, and power. When I learned this law from Andrew Carnegie, he told me plainly that his personal fortune would have been impossible without his council of trusted men, men who shared his belief, spoke his language, and echoed his purpose. When his mind weakened, theirs strengthened him. When doubt crept in, their certainty expelled it. This is the function of your mastermind: to reaffirm the identity you are building, to speak your belief aloud when your own voice trembles, to look you in the eye and say, you are the man who finishes. You are the man who is chosen. You are the man who cannot be stopped. Say this aloud now with full conviction. I build my mastermind with intention. I speak only with those who reinforce belief. I walk only with those who walk toward power. If you cannot find such men yet, create them. Begin with imaginary counsel. Close your eyes and summon your heroes. Sit in silence and ask, what would Lincoln tell me? What would Carnegie advise? What would Edison do here? Their wisdom, drawn from study, will not fail you. But do not stop there. You must find flesh and blood men who share your hunger, men who are not disturbed by your vision, but inspired by it, men who speak not of limitations, but of plans. You must seek them out, and when you find them, speak your aim aloud to one another. Hold weekly meetings. Speak goals aloud. Recite affirmations in each other's presence. Share victories. Confess drift. Realign as a unit. Let your voices train one another. Let your discipline become contagious. Let the mastermind reforge the man. Repeat this declaration with pride. I do not build alone. I rise with the few who believe. I sharpen my vision in the fire of shared belief. I form a mastermind, and I become unstoppable. Now let me warn you, the wrong companions will destroy your mind. A single doubter can drown your belief. A cynical voice, repeated enough, will become your voice. Do not tolerate it. Cut it off at the root. No man has a right to remain in your presence if he mocks your discipline or diminishes your dream. Your inner circle must be sacred. If they do not believe in your identity, they do not belong. If they do not repeat your power, they cannot walk with you. They do not need to be perfect. They need only to be devoted to growth, to belief, and to mutual ascension. Let us remember Woodrow Wilson, who surrounded himself with a group of statesmen and scholars who believed in his vision of global peace. Even when the world rejected him, his counsel kept him focused. It is through that alliance that history was moved. Say this now, aloud and boldly. My circle builds me. My mastermind refines me. I speak only with those who strengthen my identity. I walk only with those who walk in vision. Your mission this week is clear. Identify the voices in your life. Which ones reinforce your power? Which ones weaken your identity? Keep the first. Replace the second. Your destiny cannot survive in an environment that contradicts your aim. If you must walk alone until you find the right men, so be it. It is better to walk in solitude than in sabotage, but you will find them. The law of harmony attracts those on the same path, and once found, you will rise faster, speak clearer, and walk straighter than ever before. Final affirmation. Say this now with clarity. I am never alone in belief. I summon my mastermind. I build a council of fire. My identity is reinforced by men of faith, discipline, and vision. Chapter 21. Visualize with certainty. Before a man becomes great in the sight of the world, he must become great in the vision of his own mind. All power begins in the unseen, and that which is unseen can be made visible through the art of clear, repeated emotional visualization. Not vague daydreaming, but organized imagery, felt and believed with all the force of faith. You must train yourself to see with clarity, not as a child dreams, but as a commander plans. You must see the man you intend to become in precise detail. See how he walks, see where he works, hear how he speaks, feel the weight of his presence in every room, until your inner image becomes so definite the world has no choice but to yield to it. Say this aloud. I see the man I am becoming. I hold his image in my mind. I walk with his posture, speak with his voice, decide with his certainty. Visualization is not idle fancy. It is preparation. It is rehearsal. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between imagined and real when the emotion is strong. If you see yourself failing, it prepares you to fall. But if you see yourself succeeding again and again, it begins to move all forces to bring that vision to life. Let us examine the method. Set aside 10 minutes daily to visualize. Close your eyes. Remove all distraction. Let your breathing slow. See yourself as already having achieved your definite chief aim. Engage every sense. Where are you? What are you wearing? What can you hear? Who is with you? What are you saying? What does success feel like in your chest? Emotionalize the image. Do not merely watch. Enter the image. Speak aloud. Smile. Nod. Move as if it is present, for in your mind it is. Conclude with repetition of your aim. Let the vision and the spoken word combine, image and sound forming belief. Repeat now with fire. I see it. I feel it. I believe it. My mind accepts this vision as truth, and because I believe it, I will act on it until it is done. Let us look to Henry Ford, who, long before his assembly line was functional, could see the machine. He saw it not once, but every day. He saw the moving belts, the rows of workers, the rapid flow of construction. And because he saw it, his mind worked toward it, even when others called it madness. This is not mysticism. It is organized thought directed by will. What the mind sees and believes, it seeks to fulfill. And the clearer the image, the greater the will to act. The greater the will to act, the more energy the subconscious devotes to realization. Let me speak plainly. If you do not see yourself victorious, you will never move like a victor. If you do not feel the man you are becoming, you will act as the man you were. Identity follows image. Action follows imagination. And imagination must be practiced like a skill. Repeat this with precision. I do not guess who I am. I see him. I know him. I walk into every room already aligned with the man I intend to become. Now be warned. You must not visualize vaguely. Do not say, I want to be successful. Say, I see myself speaking before 1,000. I see my business commanding wealth. I see my family honored. I see my words changing lives. Detail brings power, and repetition brings certainty. You must not visualize once and forget it. You must return to the image again and again until it becomes as familiar as your reflection. The more you visit the vision, the more your mind accepts it as home. And once the mind accepts it, your behavior will begin to match it. This is why every night before sleep, you must rehearse your vision. For in sleep, the subconscious becomes most impressionable. Feed it the image of your triumph. Let it work on that vision while you rest. Do this for 30 days and watch how your tone changes, your posture changes. Your friends notice something new. Say this aloud as command. I train my inner eye. I visualize with precision. I emotionalize my success. My mind moves to fulfill the picture I have painted. Now let us remember Abraham Lincoln, who, though born in obscurity, always imagined himself a man of dignity, principle, and national influence. He held this picture long before he held any title. And because he held it, he moved toward it. His voice changed. His decisions matured. He became the man his vision demanded. So must you. Look not at your present circumstance, but at your chosen image. Speak not from where you stand, but from where you're going. Let your speech, your walk, your silence, your glance, all reflect the man in your vision. Final affirmation for this chapter. Say it with belief. I see clearly who I am becoming. I rehearse it. I believe it. I live it in thought until I live it in form. My vision is my law. Chapter 22. Walk as if the transformation has already happened. You must now move as the man you have chosen to become. Not tomorrow. Not after the applause, not after the title or the gold arrives. Now this very hour. The transformation is not something you wait for. It is something you walk in. For it is not the external change that makes the identity real. It is the inward assumption expressed in action that gives birth to the new man. Say this with full conviction. I act not according to who I was, but who I have decided to be. I walk as if I have already become him. I refuse to delay my destiny by waiting for approval. This is no idle suggestion. It is law. You must walk into the room with posture, tone, and presence as if your desire has already materialized. For the man who carries himself with certainty, long before the world confirms it, is the one the world follows. The old self will say, "You're not ready." It will whisper, "You're not that man yet." Silence it. It is the voice of the past, the voice of hesitation, the voice of compromise. You have already chosen the new image. Now walk as if it is so. This is the very essence of faith. Faith walks first, not after proof, but in spite of the absence of it. Faith speaks first, acts first, builds first. It does not ask for permission. It declares itself, and reality conforms in time. Repeat this aloud. I do not wait to feel ready. I do not wait to be seen. I walk as if my aim is already achieved. I am that man now. Every time you shrink, every time you hesitate, every time you delay a bold act, you signal to your mind that you are still the old self. But each time you walk boldly, act without apology, speak with power, you strengthen the new identity. Your behavior is the confirmation. Let us remember Carnegie, who even as a young telegraph operator, dressed and walked like a captain of industry. He did not wait until his fortune was secure. He assumed the identity in his bearing, his manner, and his tone. and it was that identity that pulled him forward into leadership. You must do the same. Begin carrying yourself as if the transformation is complete. Dress as if your standards are already elevated. Speak as if your words matter. Make decisions as if your time is precious. Refuse to speak the language of the man you used to be. That identity has no authority here. Say it again now with strength. I act in the authority of my future. I carry myself in the certainty of who I have chosen to be. My transformation is now because I walk in it. Even in silence, your energy must speak it. You must sit with dignity, work with order, move with intention, not as a mimic, but as the embodiment of a vision repeated, emotionalized, and accepted. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. You are not pretending. You are obeying the image implanted in your subconscious through weeks and months of repetition. You are simply bringing outer behavior in line with inner belief. Let me remind you of a law. The body obeys the mind, and the mind obeys the spirit of decision. When your decision is final, your words, posture, tone, and walk must follow. Any contradiction between belief and behavior creates confusion, but when they align, you are unstoppable. Consider Lincoln once more. He did not speak as a timid legislator. He spoke with the tone of a leader long before he wore the title. Why? Because he had already accepted the burden of purpose, and that acceptance shaped his every motion. He walked in his role before it was given. So must you now begin. Let your environment feel your identity. Do not explain it. Do not defend it. Simply carry it. If the world does not yet recognize your worth, so be it. It will. It must. For no man can walk in conviction daily and be denied forever. Affirm aloud now. I am the man I have chosen to be. I dress, speak, walk, and build according to that man. My outer life is catching up to my inner identity. You must not wait for applause to act like a leader. You must not wait for riches to carry yourself with wealth. You must not wait for the title to speak with dignity. The act of walking in identity is what draws the reward, not the other way around. Walk into every room with posture that says, I have purpose. Look men in the eye with certainty, not pride, but power. Let your presence echo the work you've done in silence. Let them feel your belief before they hear your words. This is how the subconscious mind rewires, through action aligned with belief, through the consistency of expression, through the walking day after day of a man who is no longer guessing who he is, but has decided. Say this with finality. I do not hope to become. I do not wish to change. I act as if it is done. I walk in victory before the battle is won, for my identity commands my behavior. This is your charge. Let every step match the vision. Let every action affirm the change. Let every room you enter adjust to your tone, not the other way around. This is how kings rise. This is how leaders emerge. This is how the old self dies, by refusing to be walked in. Chapter 23. Repetition in the dark bears, fruit in the light. There will come a season when no one claps, no one watches, no one speaks your name. It is here that most men quit, not because they were unworthy, but because they could not bear the silence of unseen effort. But I tell you, it is the man who repeats in darkness who earns his victory in the light. You must understand this law. Results are always delayed. Growth is always invisible before it is undeniable. The tree forms beneath the soil. The foundation is laid beneath the surface. And the man you are becoming is shaped long before the world takes notice. Repeat this aloud now. I continue my repetitions without applause. I repeat truth when no one sees. I rehearse success when no one believes. I prepare while the world sleeps. Do not mistake delay for denial. If you do not yet see the fruit, do not dig up the seed. Do not question the process. If you are repeating your definite chief aim, speaking your affirmations aloud, visualizing with feeling, walking in identity, you are building, whether seen or not, But you must persist through the void. The space between who you were and who you are becoming is sacred. It is the testing ground. Will you speak belief when your outer world still reflects the past? Will you walk in power before the world bows to it? This is the trial of every great man. Ford repeated vision when factories failed. Edison persisted through darkness long before the light was invented. Lincoln carried purpose while bearing public criticism. They did not wait to be seen to act. They acted until they could no longer be ignored. Repeat this now with fire. My work in the dark is not wasted. My silence is strength. My repetition bears fruit even when unseen. I continue, I persist, I rise. There is a danger in needing recognition too early. It causes the weak to stop just before the breakthrough. It leads the undisciplined to trade the permanent reward for temporary applause. But the man of destiny keeps going, not for praise, but because his identity demands it. Let us be clear. Your subconscious does not care whether the world sees your progress. It responds only to your rhythm. It obeys only your repeated commands. And every day you repeat with faith. You etch a new pattern into the unseen parts of your mind until the surface must change to reflect it. This is the rhythm of nature. First root, then fruit. First belief, then result. First repetition in private, then harvest in public. You must fall in love with the silence of effort, with the lonely discipline, with the unseen decision. That is where greatness is forged. Say this aloud. I do not need the world's eyes to become who I am. I do not need permission to persist. My destiny is confirmed in repetition, not recognition. When doubt creeps in, return to your rhythm. When fatigue rises, return to your aim. When silence feels heavy, speak louder to yourself. For in the echo of your own voice, you remind your spirit that the process is working. Let us remember a salesman I once knew. He repeated his sales pitch in the mirror every morning, though for weeks he made no sale. His friends mocked him. His competitors pitied him. But he repeated anyway. And one day his voice had changed. His tone carried belief. His eyes carried fire. And from that day on, he could not be denied. This is the power of repetition in the dark. It sharpens your soul. It hardens your will. It deepens your identity until the outer world must match the man within. Say it now. My repetition is not in vain. I build in silence. I rehearse without witness. And my reward will be too great to be hidden when it arrives. You must keep speaking your affirmations, even when your circumstances seem unchanged. You must read your chief aim aloud, even when your outer life seems unbending. You must visualize and walk in identity, especially when it feels foolish. That is the cost. That is the test. That is the path. This is how all men of power are made, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, not on stage, but in the quiet rooms, not through applause, but through devotion. And those who persist in the silence, they inherit the stage. Repeat this now with finality. I continue when no one watches. I practice when no one claps. I become the man who wins in secret until the world must acknowledge my strength. Let the silence strengthen you. Let the lack of praise refine your motive. Let the delay burn away your doubt. And when the time comes, when your repetition becomes rhythm and your rhythm becomes reality, you will step into the light, not as a surprise, but as a man who was always ready. Chapter 24. The old self will scream. Ignore him. Make no mistake. The man you used to be will not leave quietly. He will scream. He will whisper. He will bargain. He will mock. For he has lived in your mind for years, unquestioned, unchallenged, unopposed. But now, as you rise in repetition, belief, and identity, he feels his death approaching, and he will do everything in his power to survive. You will hear him when you falter. You're still the same. Why are you pretending? Who do you think you are? These are not mere thoughts. These are the cries of an old identity being starved. They are echoes of belief patterns that no longer serve you, but demand attention nonetheless. Say this aloud now. I owe nothing to the man I used to be. I do not listen to weakness. I do not serve fear. I walk forward, no matter how loud the past screams. The old self will rise strongest when you make progress, when your posture changes, when your voice strengthens, when you say no to distractions, when you speak your aim aloud and dare to believe. You will feel resistance, not from the world, but from within. Understand this clearly. This is not failure. This is confirmation. Resistance is the sound of departure. The old patterns cannot hold their grip on a man who walks in new repetition. But you must not negotiate. You must not pause. You must not listen. You must act, speak, move, repeat. Each time the old voice rises, answer with a louder declaration of the new. Each time it tries to pull you back, step forward with greater conviction. This is the work. This is the trial. And this is how the old self is buried, one bold act at a time. Say this now, as command. I do not shrink, I do not explain, I do not justify. I am no longer him, I am the man I have chosen to become. Let us remember Edison, who failed thousands of times, and with each failure the world questioned him. But the louder the voices of doubt, the more he repeated his belief. He did not wrestle with old thoughts, he drowned them in action, and in doing so he became light to the world. So must you. Do not wait for the old voice to vanish. It may never vanish entirely, but it will weaken, it will soften, and one day it will fall silent, not because it was persuaded, but because you stopped feeding it. Refuse to repeat the language of the past. Refuse to relive the stories of failure. Refuse to describe yourself with old labels. Every time you repeat those patterns, you breathe life into the man you are trying to bury. Repeat this aloud now with full authority. The old self has no voice in my mind. I do not argue with him. I replace him. I override him. I bury him in belief, repetition, and forward action. There will be moments when the old identity feels comfortable. You will be tempted to go back to old habits, old excuses, old company. But remember, comfort is the food of failure. Growth is not quiet. Be willing to endure the noise of transformation. Let your new affirmations be louder. Let your new decisions be firmer. Let your walk be faster. Let your tone be sharper. Let your faith be deeper. The man who repeats truth more often than he once repeated lies, he becomes new completely. Do not look for applause in this process. There may be none, but look for progress. And when you find it, double your repetition. Repeat this as law. I move faster than my fear. I speak louder than my doubt. I live more boldly than my past. The old self is already buried beneath my new rhythm. There is no use reasoning with weakness. It must be replaced. Every word of fear must be silenced by a word of faith. Every hesitation must be buried in action. Every comparison must be shattered with focused repetition of your chief aim. Let us recall Lincoln, who was mocked, doubted, and torn apart by critics. But he did not argue with them. He held steady to his belief. He buried their noise beneath the quiet certainty of his purpose, and that stillness became his power. So must you adopt stillness of mind and movement of purpose. Do not respond to old temptations. Do not react to old fears. Return to your affirmations. Return to your definite chief aim. Return to your visualization. And in doing so, you will rise. Say this now and mean it. I do not fear the voice of the old. I silence it through faith. I outgrow it through repetition. I override it through action. I am becoming unstoppable. The old self will scream, but it cannot survive without your agreement. Deny it. Refute it. Ignore it. Replace it. And the world will never again confuse you with the man you once were. Chapter 25. The man you programmed must now be protected. You have fought through silence. You have repeated in darkness. You have overridden the voice of your former self. Now a new identity has taken root. This man, built through affirmation, discipline, visualization, and belief, is your greatest possession. And now he must be guarded. The work is not finished when the mind is reformed. It has only begun. For what is newly formed is still tender, still vulnerable to the old ways, still watched by doubt, which waits silently, hoping you return to comfort. You must not. You dare not. Say this aloud. The man I have built is sacred. I protect him, I defend him, I surround him with order, purpose, and belief. You must now become a guardian of your identity. Every word, every voice, every place you return to must be examined. For the path that leads backward is always well lit and familiar. You must not walk it again. Your speech must remain clean. Your thoughts must stay chosen. Your companions must be filtered. Your rituals must be kept. Do not allow old inputs to rewrite the new program. If you leave the gates unguarded, the weeds will return. Repeat this with clarity. I do not return to who I was. I do not revisit weakness. I maintain my identity through protection and obedience to principle. Your protection begins with speech. Never speak of yourself in terms of failure, fatigue, or fear. Every word is a decree to the subconscious. Every sentence shapes the man you are becoming. Speak only what you intend to become law. It continues with association. Be ruthless. Even a single doubting voice, if heard often enough, can undo weeks of belief building. Do not entertain small-minded conversation. Do not walk among mockers. They do not see the man you are. They only remember the man you were. Let us remember Ford, who famously said, "If you think you can or think you can't, you are right." But more importantly, he surrounded himself only with those who thought he could. He did not allow the world's fear to enter his counsel. Protect your environment. Let your room reflect discipline. Let your tools be organized. Let your walls carry words of power. Let every sight remind you of your direction. You are not just protecting thought, you are protecting the climate of thought. Say this as law. I protect my thoughts with walls of decision. I do not let weak words enter. I do not let the old world back in. Your rituals are your fortress. Do not abandon them. Read your definite chief aim aloud twice daily. Speak your affirmations with tone and presence. Visualize with emotion. Walk with posture. These are not habits, they are armor. Without them, the drift returns. Do not be casual. Do not become comfortable. Comfort is the enemy of continued belief. You must remain vigilant. The man you have become was not built in ease. It was built in obedience, in repetition, in sacrifice. It must be maintained with the same force. Let us recall Carnegie, who did not relax when he rose. He increased his standards. He refined his counsel. He doubled down on focus. He knew that what is not protected is always reclaimed by mediocrity. Say it aloud now. I rise with my eyes open. I do not relax in belief. I guard my identity like treasure. I preserve my growth with discipline. The world will test you. It will send old friends, old doubts, old failures in new disguises. It will tempt you to speak lightly of your purpose, to skip a ritual, to bend a boundary. Do not flinch. Every compromise opens a door to decay. Protect your momentum. Each morning you begin with silence, with declaration, with vision. You reinforce the fortress. Each night you affirm the day's progress, speak victory into sleep, visualize tomorrow's action. You build layers of protection. Repeat now with firmness. I am the guardian of my identity. I do not drift. I do not repeat the past. I do not open doors that lead to the old man. There is no victory without protection. A king who wins a kingdom must still guard it. A builder who finishes a house must still maintain it. A man who becomes new must defend that newness until it becomes unbreakable. If you follow this path, if you protect the mind you have trained, the voice you have sharpened, the aim you have declared, you will not just change, you will remain changed. And this, more than success, is your highest task, to preserve the man who now stands where doubt once ruled. Final affirmation, say it boldly, I am no longer becoming. I have become. And I will not return. I protect my mind. I protect my voice. I protect my aim. I live as the man I have trained to be. And now this journey of transformation is yours to continue. You began as a man surrounded by belief systems not of your choosing, but through study, repetition, declaration, and command, you have replaced them. You have reformed your mind. Your task now is not to begin again. It is to preserve, to persist, to rise. And the man who guards his thoughts with the same fire he once used to break free, he shall not fall. He shall not fade. He shall become unshakable. This concludes the 25-chapter transformation, built on the eternal principles of thought, belief, decision, repetition, and action. If you guard what you have built, you will never again be the same man.